Hello everyone, Kelly with Sweetie Pie Pets, and we also have Tina with me today. Tina is going to be helping me answer a question that I got from one of my subscribers.
Oh yeah.
So Mr. John Doe, thank you John by the way for the comment, I really appreciate it. Love your name. John Doe wants to know if, he wants to buy a Chihuahua, but he's trying to just do his research, which I think is great. Thank you so much for please researching before you actually just jump into something. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So he posted this question. He says, how often do Chihuahuas need to eat? And he also wants to know how long they can be home alone, basically. And he wants to answer these questions before he decides whether or not it would be feasible for him to own one, to buy one. And I think that's great. So let me just take a stab at answering your questions, John, and you can decide if you think it would be a good choice for you to have a Chihuahua. So the first question, how often do they need to eat? So this question here, it really depends, and it's going to vary greatly depending on the size of your particular Chihuahua and also the age and the health of your Chihuahua. So if you have a standard size Chihuahua that's maybe 5 pounds, that's healthy, that's an adult, they can be left alone pretty much all day. I'm not saying they want to be. They'd probably be happier if they had a friend there with them because they are sociable and they do get lonely. But health-wise, speaking of how much they need to eat and so on, they could be left home alone while you're at work for maybe up to 8 to 9 hours. However, they couldn't go 8 to 9 hours without eating. So your second question, how often do they need to eat? They do need to eat every probably 2 to 3 hours, even for an adult dog, just because of how small they are. So I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it with even, like a human, a newborn baby is going to have to eat smaller meals more often, whereas an adult could probably go like all day long, not that you'd want to, but you could go all day long without eating and nothing would really happen. But the simple fact that they're so small means that they don't carry that much energy on their little frames. So they really can't go, that many hours without eating, or else their blood sugar level will dip, and that can cause some health problems, and they can actually die from low blood sugar levels. So you just want to make sure that they're eating every few hours. So to decide whether or not having a Chihuahua would be feasible for you, you need to think about that. You need to think about how long you're going to be gone, and at what age is the dog going to be when you're going to be gone, because bringing a new puppy home is totally different than having an adult dog that's healthy and otherwise eats on its own. Sometimes when you bring a puppy home, they will need a little more encouragement. They're going to be in a new surrounding and they're not going to know where they're at, and a lot of times it will suppress their appetite, and they really are going to need some one-on-one attention with their human to make sure that they're bonding well, they're settling into their new home, and that they're eating enough and often enough. So when you want to consider bringing a puppy home, you probably would want to do that when you have at least a week or two to actually sit there and bond with the puppy, make sure that the puppy is eating every couple of hours. I mean, really, it can't go longer than about every 2 hours without eating and putting more energy back onto the puppy's little frame. So that would be your second question, how often does it need to eat? Well, a puppy needs to eat probably every 2 hours. My Tina here, she weighs probably about 3 pounds, and she's old, actually. She's a senior. She's 13 years old, and she probably she's got her own little food bowl, so she just goes over there maybe every 4 hours is my best guess, and just eats as much as she wants, and then she comes back. Now, there are some dogs that will have goldfish syndrome, where they will eat and eat and eat and get completely fat. And you don't want that either, because that's unhealthy for the dog. I've actually noticed that more often when you have a couple of dogs together and one of them is trying to dominate the other one. The one that's trying to dominate will hoard all the food and basically try to eat all the food so that the other one can't get any food. So then you have a problem with one being overweight and one being underweight. So you do need to pay attention to that as well. You need to pay attention to what are the other dogs that are there in the house If you have only the one dog, they're never going to try to hoard, or they're never going to have the food, hoarded away from them. They're going to be able to eat as often as they want. But if you have a couple of dogs, you have to pay attention to whether or not your dog is dominating or being dominated, because again, they need to eat every few hours. So those are just a couple things to keep in mind. Obviously, the smaller the dog, the younger the dog, the more often it needs to eat, probably every 2-3 hours. And the older the dog, healthy, I shouldn't say the older the dog, I'm going to say a middle-aged dog that's healthy could probably go longer, 4 to 5 hours without eating. And then once you started getting into like senior age, where my Tina is right here, she probably eats about every 4 hours, but I've noticed that she's starting to, just like an old lady, she's just starting to look thinner. And I probably need to start making sure that she's eating enough, making sure that no other dogs are dominating her, and making sure that she eats often enough. How often do you eat? Every 4 hours? She says she eats every 4 hours. That's what she just told me right now. Are you hungry? Do you want a mama's? That is not what I wanted to say. So please don't forget to subscribe and click the like button if you like my video. And thanks for watching. Have a great day. Happy New Year, everyone.